Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Happy Maximus, and I'm going to be kind of picking up where we left off last. Once you log into the game, this is where we were at. So this is kind of like just a getting started part 2, I guess. The first one was kind of part 1. This will be the last one, and then I will actually do some gameplay after this video. So if you feel like you've got it figured out already, you're welcome to skip this video and go to the next one. That would probably be just fine. But if you want to know more about the interface and everything, that's kind of what I'm going to talk about right now. Alright, so once you log into the game, you'll notice several things. Your health and your resource, whatever you use, is up here. Okay, so paladins use mana, different classes use different resources. Okay, that's what you spend to use your spells. Down on the bottom, let's start down here. Down on the bottom left is kind of your chat panel. Okay, so you'll see anything text related will pop up down here, so make sure you keep an eye on that. Down here these are where your abilities are stored right here, and you can scroll through different action bars. There's 6 of them that you can scroll through if you want to put your spells there. But I've got kind of a shortcut to help you out with that, so you don't have to do that. And then your menu, sorry, that's for voice chat, which you don't even need to worry about that. Your menus are right here. You should get really familiar with these, because these will kind of be, you'll be referring back to these throughout the entire game. Okay, and it adds more and more as you level up. As you see, there's some grayed out that become available at certain levels. The first little window right here is your character pane. This is where all of your items are stored. Okay, so if you see that, like there's a different slot for pretty much anything, and you'll get different pieces of armor and gear to put in there when you beat things. It's pretty cool, typical RPG. If you click this little arrow, it has a list of all your stats. There are titles that you can unlock. You'll start off with just no title, and then there are different achievements and stuff you can get that are titles. And then equipment manager is just basically if you do different specializations in your class, you can basically create new outfits, or outfits, I guess you call them, that you can save to just auto-equip them. Like if you, for instance, if you're tanking and you want to switch to DPS, you can change to your DPS gear. Okay, but that's pretty advanced. You really just need to worry about this part right here. And then down here, there's another tab that's reputation. As you do quests and different dungeons and raids and all that, you get reputation for different groups, and there will be a lot more groups added as you travel throughout the game. So that's really okay. The next tab is your spellbook and abilities. So pretty straightforward. There's your general abilities, which has like passive abilities, and you'll also see that ones that are unlocked at certain levels, they are grayed out, and it shows you what level you can unlock them. Okay, so just take a look at that, look through those. Some of them are passive, which means you don't have to put them on a bar. Okay, some of them are not, like this one is already down here. But this is a human trait. If you're a human, you get this ability that you can cool. Different races have different abilities. And then down here are your class-specific abilities. So these are all my paladin abilities that unlock at certain levels, all the way to this one so far. Okay. But you'll kind of unlock some more as you go to that are kind of extra. And then down here, this tab is professions, which I'll talk about later. You'll learn 2 primary professions, and you learn all 4 of the secondary professions. And they help you make money and unlock certain things later, but you don't want to worry about that now. But so get familiar with that. The talents and everything becomes available at level 10, which I'll talk about that later. Achievements are next. There's just a whole slew of achievements you can get in this game. It's insane how many have been added, and I'm not even 50% there yet. So one of these days, if you're in a guild, you'll notice that there are guild achievements too, which I can talk about guilds later. It's not really important to know right now. And then there are just different stats, like trackable things, like bandages used, light pass taken, those little things that probably won't ever really look at. Next are your quests. which links directly to your map, which is also up here, top right corner. Little button, your world map. Basically, when you open your world map, it'll show you a zoomed in area of wherever you're at. If you right click, it'll zoom you out to the next largest area. So right click again, you'll see the whole continent, right? So this is just one zone that, now this is how massive the game is. This always gets me. But this is just one continent. Well, guess what? If I right click again, you'll see that there are 4 different continents, not to mention this little middle area, which is another place. And these 2 places, the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor, are kind of the level 1 through 60 zones. So these were the original places to come out. These other places did not exist when the game first came out. As well as some places that are on these 2 continents. That's pretty cool. And then you can even zoom out even more, and you'll see that there are different worlds to explore. So, like, that's how massive, if you were wondering, oh my gosh, 32 gigabytes of game when you were downloading this or whatever it is, well, this is pretty much it. This is all the data. It's all these zones, and these zones are pretty big. I'll look around. So, that's kind of the map summed up. Your quests will appear over here when you get them, which we'll talk about quests in the next episode. Later, or the next thing is Guild Finder. If you're interested in being a guild, which is like just a group, it's like a community of people, and they do different things. Like, you know, you can just be in a social guild that just likes to talk, and there are perks to being in a guild. When I join a guild, you'll see. But you can use this to search for guilds, and then once you fill in all of these little things, you can go to Browse Guilds, and you can look at different stats on guilds. So that's just something to kind of look at. The Group Finder becomes available at level 10. We'll talk about that later. Collections. There are 4 different tabs in the collections thing, and you really don't have to worry about this as a new player, so I'm just introducing you. The first tab is all of your mounts. Okay, and I could have way more mounts because there are a ton that I haven't unlocked. All those gray ones are mounts that I don't have. But anyway, so that's why it's called collections. Let's collect them. Pets. The closest thing to compare this to is Pokemon. So if you play Pokemon, the battle pet system is pretty much that. Toys are just little unique items you collect throughout the game that get put in your toy box, and they do little funny little perky things, but none of them, they're not really necessary for the game, but they're just kind of fun. And then heirlooms. Heirloom gear is gear that helps you level up faster. You can buy that with a lot of gold when you level up. So, but again, this collections tab, you really don't need to worry about that until you have at least one character to max level. Or at least until you have a character to level 20 so you can use mounts. Okay, and then after that's just the shop. Browse the shop, whatever, you can look through that. And then the main menu. Okay, so I'm not going to mess with, you can go through all of this on your own. I'm not going to talk you through that. I highly suggest doing this stuff because you can familiarize yourself with the game. But one thing I do want to bring your attention to is that in the interface, I was talking earlier about a shortcut for your action bars. Something you can do, well, you can look through all these different menus, basically, of options you can customize, which is really cool. So some things I suggest changing are auto loot. I suggest putting that on because that means when you loot a creature, when it dies, a little window will pop up. That just means you don't have to click on the items to loot them. It'll auto loot them. Some people are very picky about what they loot. I'm not, because you can pretty much sell everything. It's just a matter of what your preference is. But that's something I recommend turning on. If you don't turn that on, you can hold down or you can select one of these keys, and you can hold that key down to auto loot it anyway. So, but I'm lazy. So, okay. So next, I'll let you look through these on your own. It's not a big deal. You can turn on the mature language filter so that curse words will appear as kind of like symbols. So it's kind of kid-friendly too. But the next thing are the action bars. I was just turning all of these action bars on. And what that is going to do, if I take this ability right here and I move around, you'll see that these little action bars down here have popped up around the screen. There are 4 different ones that popped up. That makes it pretty customizable where you can put your abilities. You're going to get more abilities than this bar can hold, so not to mention there are other things you can put in action bars too. It's kind of like hotkeys. So that really kind of helps that out. Okay, the thing that floating combat text just basically means if you get hit, like numbers will fly up to show how much damage you've taken or whatever, and you can do that on yourself, or you can turn it on for enemies. I keep it on for the enemies just because I like to see how much damage I'm doing. If you're not playing with any add-ons, which, I can talk about add-ons later. It's not necessary to play with add-ons if you're a new player, especially. If you're not playing with add-ons, I suggest turning on status text, like on your. You can turn your health bar text on to where you can see actually the numerical value of how much health you have. If you have a pet, like a hunter or warlock or whatever, you can turn that on. When you're in a group, you can turn that on to where you can see their numbers, your target. I suggest that because it gives you kind of a numerical value. You don't have to. I typically actually don't play with that, but if you want it, you can. It's not. You don't. It's just a normal health bar that will drain when you're attacked. Okay, cool. So that's pretty much what. You can look through the rest of these on your own. I'm not going to go on about that because it'll take much. Key bindings are another big thing. It's very customizable. Like you can make any of these action bars equal whatever button combination you want. As you see, I have some by default, these bars are going to be 1 through the equal sign. But I like to use the buttons a lot instead of click on abilities because it becomes faster that way. So what I've done is I've changed my key bindings to where everything's within my hand's reach. So I would suggest looking into that if you want to, but there's a lot more than just the buttons. There's just other menu items and stuff you can do to customize it however you want. So that's something to kind of, the earlier you do that, the more familiar the game will become, and it becomes a little easier to do. But, just kind of have fun, play the game, and you'll be good. The last thing over here, after the menu, are your bags. This is where your inventory is, and you can get 4 additional bags that you can put in there that can be assigned to different kinds of items. But right now you just start off with the backpack, or you can just press the B button and it will open all your bags so you can see them whenever you other than that, we just have the mini map up here that you can zoom in, zoom out. The mini map is very important. I use it a lot. It has quests on it. It has where you turn quests in. It has a calendar on it that shows different events that happen in the world, which is crazy awesome. I have voice chat turned on just for when I'm in a party with my friends. Sometimes we just use the in-game voice chat. Which I hear they're working on a better voice chat. And then, like I said, up here is your map, and then there are different options to track things on your map. So you can go through those. Like I turn the pets off because there's a lot of them, and they just kind of pop up like crazy. I always like to target points of interest like cities and stuff. We'll show you an arrow pointing you in the direction of town. And then there are different townsfolk you can track if you want. Or you can just turn tracking off completely, except for the basics like quests. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this episode. Next time I will be delving into questing, and we'll get started here, and you'll see actual gameplay footage of it. So thanks again for watching, and please subscribe to my channel because I will be cranking out quite a few videos, and we're gonna just kind of play through this character and level together. It's gonna be so thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye bye.